Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to connect the dots between the AI you use every single day, that mysterious cloud where it all lives, and the secret engine that's actually powering the whole thing. Let's jump right in. So, let's just start with a really simple question. AI is, well, it's everywhere. It's changing how we work, it's creating art, it's writing code. But have you ever really stopped to think about what's powering it? And I don't mean the code. I mean the raw physical muscle it needs just to exist. To find that answer, we've got to make sure we're all on the same page. Because AI is this huge, kind of vague term, right? But the most common ways you see it are probably things you use all the time, maybe without even realizing it. I mean, just think about it for a second. You've got the AI assistant in your phone, the helpful little chatbot that pops up on a website, or all that incredible generative AI that's creating stunning images and content. These things have just sort of woven themselves into our lives. Now, what's truly mind-boggling is the sheer power behind all these tools. To train an AI model to do something as simple as recognize a cat in a photo, let alone write an entire screenplay, well, that takes processing absolutely massive amounts of data. And that's where we hit this need for immense computational power. We're talking about raw digital muscle, the ability to crunch numbers at a totally astronomical speed. And that, well, that brings us to the big question here. If a single AI search takes so much energy, how can millions of us be using these tools all at the same time? Where is all of this incredible power actually coming from? Because I can tell you it's not coming from your phone or your laptop. And the answer, as you've probably already guessed, is the cloud. Now, that's a term that gets thrown around all the time, right? It sounds a little bit magical, a little vague, so let's pull back the curtain and demystify it because it's way more than just one thing. At its heart, cloud computing is a beautifully simple idea. Instead of running a program or storing a file on your computer, you're just using the internet to access these super powerful servers owned by companies like Amazon, Google, or Microsoft to do all the heavy lifting for you. In a way, you're kind of renting a tiny piece of a supercomputer. So you see, the cloud isn't a thing. It's more like a menu of services. It's not just a place to back up your photos. It offers literally everything, from simple file storage all the way up to complex applications. And, you guessed it, the raw computing power that something like AI absolutely depends on. Okay, and probably the easiest way to get your head around this is with, well, pizza. Seriously. With infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, the provider just gives you the raw ingredients, the servers, the storage, and you build everything else yourself. Then there's platform as a service, or PaaS. That's kind of like getting a pizza delivered. They handle making the pie, you just handle the plates. And finally, you've got software as a service, or SaaS, think Google Docs. That's like just going out to a pizza place. They handle everything. You just show up and use it. Okay, but that still leaves one big question on the table. How can one giant data center with all its massive physical computers efficiently slice up all that power and serve thousands of different customers at the same time when they all have their own different needs? Well, there's a secret ingredient. And that secret, the technology that really makes the entire cloud possible, is something called virtualization. It's an idea that's actually been around for decades, but it's become absolutely critical with the rise of the internet. Virtualization is the magic trick. See, it completely shatters that old rule that one physical computer can only run one operating system. With virtualization, you can take one super powerful server and slice it into dozens or even hundreds of smaller, totally independent virtual computers. And each one can run its own separate operating system and app. And the whole show is managed by this crucial bit of software called a hypervisor. You can think of it like a traffic cop for all the computer's resources. Now, there are two main flavors. Type 1 hypervisors are the absolute bedrock of the cloud. They run right on the bare metal hardware for maximum speed. But then you have Type 2, which you might use on your own computer. They run on top of your existing OS, and they're perfect for, say, developers who need to test things out. And here is what that actually looks like. What you're seeing is the Ubuntu operating system. That's a version of Linux, just running inside a window on a Windows 11 laptop. As far as Windows is concerned, it's just another app. But inside that window, that's a complete, self-contained, independent computer, a virtual machine. This is virtualization right here in action. So now we can finally put all the pieces together. We can draw a straight line from that one little virtual machine running on a laptop all the way up to the most powerful and advanced artificial intelligence on the planet. Look, here's the absolute key. It's a 3-layer stack. At the very bottom, you have virtualization. It lets one computer pretend to be many.
Then, the cloud uses that virtualization on a massive scale to pool all those resources together and rent them out. And finally, on top, artificial intelligence just taps into that gigantic, flexible pool of power to do its thing. It's simple. Without virtualization, there's no cloud as we know it. And without the cloud, there is no AI revolution. Period. You know, in this really cool kind of meta moment from the source material, an AI was actually asked to explain its own relationship with the cloud, and this was its answer. It fully recognizes that its very existence hangs on the scalable power that the cloud provides. Pretty wild, right? Now, a huge benefit of this entire system is reliability. Cloud providers can actually give you guarantees about how often their services will be up and running. This is called high availability, and it's measured in this funny way, with nines. For instance, a pretty standard promise you'll see is for 3 nines of availability. That just means the service is guaranteed to be online and working 99.9% of the time over a full year. And 99.9%. I mean, that sounds pretty darn close to perfect, doesn't it? What's 0.1% between friends? Well, in the real world, it turns out to be a lot more time than you'd think. That tiny 0.1% of downtime actually adds up to 8.77 hours per year. Just imagine your company's entire website going dark for a full workday, or your banking app being offline when you have an emergency. That's what that tiny fraction of a percent really costs. And that is why these companies fight tooth and nail to offer 4, 5, even 6 nines of availability, because every single 9 really matters. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that the AI revolution isn't magic. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's the very top layer of this massive technological pyramid that's been built over decades. It's standing on the shoulders of the cloud, and the cloud is standing on the bedrock foundation of virtualization. But as powerful, as totally dominant as this whole stack is today, it leaves us with one last really fascinating thought. All of this, every bit of this technology, could one day just be a relic, replaced by some new idea that, right now, is just a scribble on a whiteboard somewhere. Which makes you wonder, what's next?